It's incredibly frustrating, right? Especially when the entire goal here is to get more views on YouTube and actually build your audience. But man, nothing seems to be clicking.
So why does this happen? Why do things get stuck at like 100 or 200 views? Well, human nature is to blame everything under the sun. We look at our content and think, my ideas are weak, or we blame our editing skills, or we start getting super paranoid about our thumbnails. A lot of creators literally just throw their hands up and assume the algorithm just flat out hates them. But the data? The data shows the reality is way simpler and, honestly, a lot easier to fix.
Get ready for this, because the biggest mistake creators make is actually just a mechanical error. It comes from hasty clicking right at the finish line, hitting that public button instantly. You see, when you just dump your hard work onto the platform the exact second that upload bar hits 100%, you are quite literally self-sabotaging your own channel's growth.
There's this massive disconnect, between what we want and how the system actually operates behind the scenes. As a creator, your expectation is that hitting public means, boom, the views are going to come pouring in fast. You're hyped up. But the algorithm's reality is entirely different. It's basically screaming, whoa, hold on, I have absolutely no time to process your signals. By rushing it, you're robbing the system of the very time it actually needs to figure out what your content is even about.
Actually, let's reframe this for a second. Think of the algorithm not as some sort of harsh human judge with a personal vendetta against your channel. It's just a machine. And this machine has a very specific job. It needs to test your content on a small, core audience first before pushing it out to the masses. But to run that test accurately, it needs time. It needs time to read your metadata, your title, your tags, your description, and it definitely needs a minute to analyze your thumbnail.
So if you don't give it that buffer, you trigger what we call the instant public chain reaction. Since the system is totally unprepared, it just kind of panics and throws your hard work out there to completely random, incorrect people. And what happens when the wrong audience sees it? Well, they ignore it. They scroll right past, or maybe they click and bounce immediately. The machine reads that data, flags your masterpiece as boring, and boom, the momentum dies. All that effort down the drain, just because of one button.
Okay, so how do we fix this? When we break down the visibility options, it becomes super clear what each button is actually doing. Private is great for drafts, right? Unlisted is perfect if you need to shoot a link over to a sponsor or a friend early on. But public, hitting that instantly, that is the big mistake. The verdict here is crystal clear. Schedule is the professional choice. If your goal is to consistently get more views on YouTube, scheduling is the secret weapon the big creators are using every single time.
There's this brilliant insight that perfectly sums up the whole strategy. When you schedule, YouTube has time to process your video, read the tags, and prepare the exact right audience. Think about how powerful that is. It means that by the time you actually go live, the machine has already done all the heavy lifting for you. It's primed, it's ready, and most importantly, it knows exactly whose homepage your content actually belongs on. Now, real quick, before we get into the exact formula for scheduling, I have to give you a crucial pro tip. Do not ignore this one. When you are uploading, use the Chrome desktop browser and go directly to studio.youtube.com. Do not, I repeat, do not use the mobile app or the mobile studio app to set your schedule. Why? Well, because sometimes when you use the app, your subscribers literally won't get the notifications. Sticking to the desktop browser makes absolutely sure that the Notify Subscribers checkbox is ticked and actually working.
All right, so we know we got a schedule. Let's break down the exact 3-step sequential progression of a smart upload strategy that you can start using literally today. We call this the perfect schedule formula. It boils down to picking the right date, the right time, and then, honestly, the best part, learning how to just relax and let the system work for you.
Step 1 is nailing down the right date. And the golden rule here is so simple. Schedule for tomorrow or the next day, but never for today. Let's say you finish editing on a Tuesday. Do not schedule it to go live on that same Tuesday. Giving the machine that solid 1 to 2 day buffer is exactly the breathing room it needs to analyze your metadata and track down your ideal audience. You are essentially buying time for the algorithm to actually do its job.
Moving on to step 2, you've got to pick the right time. Our data shows you absolutely must pick a time when your audience is actually awake and free to click. Generally speaking, people are most active on the platform in the mornings, say between 7 and 9 a.m., or in the evening rush between 5 and 8 p.m. By aligning your scheduled release with these peak active windows, you drastically increase your chances of getting that massive initial surge of clicks.
And finally, step 3 is just relax. Seriously.
This is where you can build incredible consistency without completely burning yourself out. You can batch upload 5 to 10 pieces of content in a single day. Just imagine that. One solid day of uploading, and you've got your content scheduled out for the entire week, or maybe even the whole month. The machine is going to automatically publish them at the exact right date and time, keeping your channel consistent while you actually get to take a breather.
Now, we do need to contrast this schedule feature with another one you've probably seen sitting there, Premiere. Because honestly, there is a lot of confusion around this. Listen, Premiere is strictly for massive, highly anticipated events. We're talking music drops, short films, huge trailers. But Schedule? That is your bread and butter. That's what you should be using for your standard content, your daily vlogs, your tutorials, and your regular tips.
If you try to force a Premiere for your normal, everyday content, it's actually going to hurt you. It completely confuses the algorithm because it doesn't get that normal processing time we just talked about. And because it's pushed as this big event, people might just ignore the reminder. When that happens, your click-through rate, your CTR, plummets. That lowers your overall watch time, and let's be real, seeing those low numbers just absolutely kills your motivation as a creator. So, if there is one crucial takeaway from this whole explainer, it's this. The machine is not your enemy. It is built for your growth. It just needs the right signals. The platform is not plotting against you. By avoiding that instant public button, ignoring premieres for your standard uploads, and consistently utilizing the schedule feature, you are finally feeding the machine the positive signals it so desperately needs to boost your channel.
I want you to take a second and really reflect on your own habits right now. Which method are you currently using to publish? Are you just mashing public? Are you using schedule? Or are you trying to premiere everything? Be completely honest with yourself about which of these buttons you've been defaulting to all this time. Because recognizing that mechanical habit, that is the very first step to turning your channel's momentum around.
But here is a final thought I want to leave you with. Fixing this upload habit and perfectly scheduling everything, that only solves the first half of the puzzle. Uploading is literally only 50% of the work. So, the real question is, are you ready for the next 50%? What are the exact steps you absolutely must take after your work goes live to 10x your growth before your competition catches up? Well, that's where the real game begins.